Welcome to the audiobook. The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Introduction: The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Welcome. I'd like to introduce you to something that could change the way you think about your emotional and physical well-being. It's based on a simple but powerful idea. Emotions that we don't fully process can become trapped in the body, and these trapped emotions can interfere with our health, our happiness, and our ability to connect with others. Over the years, I've worked with many people, clients who were dealing with chronic pain, anxiety, low energy, or unresolved grief. Often, these issues didn't go away with traditional treatment. What I discovered was that many of them were carrying around emotional energy from past experiences, energy that had never been released. Once we found and removed these trapped emotions, their pain eased, their mood lifted, and their lives began to change. That's what the Emotion Code is all about. It's a natural, energy-based method for identifying and releasing emotional baggage, using a technique called muscle testing to communicate with your subconscious mind. This allows us to ask the body what it's holding on to and what it's ready to let go of. Once we find a trapped emotion, we release it using a simple process that clears the energetic blockage, often bringing immediate relief. You don't need years of training or a deep background in energy medicine to use this method. I've designed it to be accessible to anyone who is open to learning. Whether you're a health practitioner, a parent, or someone on a personal healing journey, this book can help you tap into your body's own wisdom and healing power. In these pages, I'll share real stories from people who have released emotions they didn't even know were affecting them: grief from a childhood loss, fear from a painful breakup, shame from a forgotten moment. Once those emotions were released, they felt freer, more centered, and more at peace. One of the most common discoveries people make when using the Emotion Code is something I call the heart wall. This is a kind of energetic shield the subconscious mind builds around the heart to protect us from emotional pain. It serves a purpose, but it also blocks love, joy, and connection. In this book, I'll show you how to gently dismantle that wall and reconnect with the world around you and with yourself. If you've ever felt weighed down by emotions you couldn't quite explain, or if you've struggled with pain that doctors couldn't fully diagnose, this method may offer answers. My goal is to empower you with a tool that can restore balance, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. Let's begin this process of uncovering what your body already knows. Healing is possible, and the first step is learning to listen. Chapter 1: Trapped Emotions. The Invisible Block. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every day, but not realizing it's there. You've gotten used to the weight. It's always been with you, so you assume it's just part of life. Then one day, someone helps you take it off, and you suddenly feel lighter, freer, clearer. That's what it feels like to release a trapped emotion. In this first chapter, I want to help you understand what a trapped emotion is and why it matters. Emotions are part of being human. We all feel joy, sadness, fear, anger, and love. Ideally, these emotions come and go. We experience them, process them, and then they pass. But sometimes, especially in moments of pain, trauma, or stress, we don't fully process an emotion. Instead of releasing it, our body holds on to it. That emotional energy doesn't disappear. It gets stored somewhere in the body. This is what I call a trapped emotion. A trapped emotion is like a ball of energy, about the size of a fist, stuck somewhere in your body. It might lodge in your shoulder, your back, your chest, or even near your heart. Over time, this stuck energy can cause problems. It may contribute to physical pain, make you more emotionally reactive, or lead you to feel anxious, depressed, or blocked without understanding why. The people I've worked with over the years have been surprised by the way releasing just one trapped emotion can bring immediate changes, like chronic pain vanishing, a feeling of emotional peace returning, or even relationships improving. That's because trapped emotions don't just affect our bodies. They shape our beliefs, our reactions, and the energy we carry into every part of our life. One of the most powerful things about understanding trapped emotions is that it helps explain why some healing methods haven't worked. You might have tried therapy, medication, diet changes, or other health approaches and still felt stuck. That's often because the real issue isn't in your conscious mind, it's in your subconscious, where trapped emotional energy lives. Your body remembers everything, even when your mind doesn't. So, how do you find these trapped emotions? That's what this book will teach you. We'll use a method called muscle testing, a way of asking your body yes or no questions that tap into your subconscious wisdom. It's simple and safe. Once we find the emotion, we use a magnet, or our intention, to release it. It only takes a few seconds, and the results can be immediate or unfold gently over time. In this chapter, I also want to emphasize something very important. This is not about reliving trauma. We're not going to dig through painful memories or try to re-experience old wounds. In fact, we often don't need to know the full story behind the emotion at all. The goal is release, not reliving. That's one reason this method is so gentle and empowering. And here's the most encouraging part: you can do this yourself. You don't need to be a doctor or energy healer. You just need to be open, curious, and willing to trust the process. Your body already knows what it needs to release. You're simply learning how to ask, and then listen. This first chapter is just the beginning. Ahead, we'll go deeper into how trapped emotions form, how they affect your body and relationships, and how to release them safely and easily. For now, just know this: if you've ever felt like something unseen was holding you back, from love, from health, or from your true self, you're not imagining it. And you're not stuck. Your body has been holding on, but it's also ready to let go. Let's take that first step together. Chapter 2: How Emotions Get Trapped. Now that we've introduced the idea of trapped emotions, this chapter explains how they actually get stuck in the body, and why it happens more often than most of us realize. Let's start with this simple truth: emotions are energy. Just like every part of your body, emotions have a frequency, a vibration. When you feel something strongly, fear, anger, grief, joy, your body responds physically. Your heart rate changes, your breathing shifts, your muscles tense or relax. Most of the time, these emotions move through you and eventually settle. But sometimes, something interrupts that natural release. Maybe you were overwhelmed. Maybe you were too young to understand or express what you were feeling. Maybe you were told to get over it or stay strong when what you really needed was to cry, shout, or be comforted. When that happens, the energy of the emotion doesn't go away, it stays with you. And instead of flowing, it gets stored in your body, creating what we now understand as a trapped emotion. Dr. Nelson explains that this can happen during major life events, like a loss, a breakup, or a traumatic accident, but it can also happen in everyday moments. A sharp comment from a teacher, a moment of embarrassment in school, a feeling of rejection from a friend, any of these can leave an emotional imprint if the energy isn't allowed to move. The body stores these emotions in specific locations. For example, trapped anger might show up as tightness in the chest or neck. Trapped sorrow could sit in the lungs or heart area. And because each person's body responds differently, where an emotion gets stuck, and how it shows up later, varies from person to person. One person's trapped fear might lead to anxiety. Another's might lead to chronic stomach issues. But the root cause is the same: an unresolved emotional charge held in the body's energy field. Trapped emotions can also affect how we think, feel, and act. Imagine trying to make a confident decision while carrying the trapped energy of past failures, or trying to connect deeply in a relationship while still holding old pain from a betrayal years ago. We might not consciously connect the dots, but that unresolved energy can shape our responses, sometimes dramatically. One of the more fascinating ideas introduced in this chapter is that your subconscious mind knows exactly what emotions you're holding on to. Even if your conscious memory can't recall a specific moment from childhood, your body remembers. And it will give you that information if you know how to ask. That's where muscle testing comes in, and we'll cover that soon. Dr. Nelson also notes that some trapped emotions don't even start with you. They can be inherited, passed down from a parent or even a grandparent. These inherited emotions can quietly shape your emotional responses, physical health, and even the energy you bring into relationship. The good news is, once you identify them, they can be released just like your own. So to summarize this chapter, trapped emotions get lodged in your body when your system becomes overwhelmed and can't fully process or release what you're feeling. These emotional stuck points can lead to pain, stress, illness, or feeling blocked in different areas of life. But they are not permanent. Your body wants to heal, it just needs a little help letting go. As we continue, you'll learn exactly how to start that process. You'll see how to gently identify these emotions and release them safely. No drama, no digging up old wounds, just a simple, powerful method that works with your body's natural intelligence. You've already taken the most important step, being open to the idea that healing is possible. Now let's keep going. Chapter 3: The Power of the Subconscious Mind. In this chapter, we take a closer look at a fascinating part of you, the subconscious mind, and how it plays a vital role in identifying and releasing trapped emotions. We often think of our mind as the thoughts we're aware of, our plans, worries, and daily decisions. But that's just a small part of it. Your subconscious mind is much larger, and it's working constantly in the background. It keeps your heart beating, your lungs breathing, and your body temperature stable. It also stores every memory you've ever had, every emotion you've felt, and every experience you've gone through, even the ones you've forgotten consciously. This matters because the subconscious remembers what your conscious mind does not. So when you have an emotional reaction that seems too big for the situation, like getting extremely anxious before a harmless meeting, it could be your subconscious reacting to an old emotional memory or a trapped emotion that hasn't been cleared yet. Dr. Nelson explains that the subconscious is also the part of you that holds on to trapped emotions, because it's responsible for protecting and managing your emotional and physical well-being. It stores those old emotional energies, often as a form of protection, especially when it senses that releasing them at the time might have been too overwhelming. Here's the exciting part. Your subconscious is also very willing to communicate, and it knows exactly what emotions are trapped, where they are in the body, and when they got stuck. You just have to ask in the right way. That's where muscle testing comes in. Muscle testing is a technique that allows you to tap into your subconscious mind by using your body's own energy. Your muscles respond differently when something is true versus when it's false, or when you're thinking about something that's good for you versus something that's not. By asking the body yes or no questions and checking the strength of a specific muscle, you can begin to uncover the emotional imbalances that are hiding below the surface. It may sound strange at first, but it's a method that's been used in holistic health and kinesiology for years, and you don't need special skills or equipment to learn it. Dr. Nelson walks you through the basics so that you can do it on yourself or someone else. He emphasizes that this isn't about guesswork or making assumptions. Your subconscious is incredibly accurate when you communicate with it properly. That's why the emotion code system uses a structured approach, a list of emotions, clear questions, and a step-by-step process to make sure you get reliable answers every time. One of the most empowering messages in this chapter is that you already have the answers within you. Your body knows what it needs to release. It knows which trapped emotion is interfering with your health or happiness. And with the right approach, you can access that information quickly, safely, and clearly. So think of your subconscious as a trusted guide. It's been quietly holding your story all along. And now, with the emotion code, you're learning how to listen and to heal. Chapter 4: Muscle Testing. Asking the Body. Now that we understand how the subconscious mind holds the keys to our trapped emotions, this chapter introduces the main tool we use to unlock those answers: muscle testing. This is the method that allows us to ask the body and get clear yes or no responses from the subconscious. Muscle testing, also known as applied kinesiology, is based on a simple concept. The body reacts differently to truth than it does to falsehood. When you make a true statement, your energy stays strong and balanced. When you say something untrue, your energy weakens slightly. This response happens so consistently that it can be used as a tool to get feedback from your subconscious mind. Here's how it works. You make a statement like, "My name is Sarah." If that's true, your muscle will stay strong when gently tested. If you say, "My name is John," and that's false, the muscle will weaken slightly in response. By asking yes or no questions and checking the strength of the muscle, you can access what your subconscious knows, even if your conscious mind doesn't remember. Dr. Nelson emphasizes that muscle testing is not about force or guesswork. It's subtle, respectful, and deeply intuitive once you learn how to use it. And while it might take some practice, it's a skill that anyone can learn. In fact, once you get the hang of it, it becomes a reliable, go-to method for getting answers about your emotional and physical health. This chapter introduces different ways to perform muscle testing. If you're working with another person, the arm test is a classic method. The person being tested holds one arm out to the side while the tester gently presses down. If the response is strong, the answer is yes. If the muscle weakens, the answer is no. For self-testing, Dr. Nelson describes techniques like the sway test, where your body subtly leans forward for yes and backward for no, and other finger or hand-based technique. All of these rely on your body's natural energy and balance to give you honest responses. The beauty of muscle testing is that it bypasses your conscious mind, which might be full of doubts, defenses, or confusion. Instead, you go straight to the subconscious, the part of you that remembers everything and always tells the truth. That's why this method is such a powerful part of the emotion code process. It lets you uncover exactly what emotion is trapped, when it became trapped, and whether it's ready to be released. Dr. Nelson reminds readers that muscle testing should be approached with humility and intention. It's not a parlor trick, it's a way to listen to the body's wisdom. The more you practice, the more accurate and natural it becomes. And the more you trust the process, the more you'll see how capable your body is of healing itself, once the emotional blocks are removed. So this chapter is really about learning a new language. Not with words, but with energy and trust. You're starting a dialogue with your own inner intelligence. And through that dialogue, you'll soon begin to uncover and release the emotions that have been quietly holding you back. Chapter 5: Releasing Trapped Emotions. Now that you've learned how to identify trapped emotions using muscle testing, this chapter shows you how to release them safely, gently, and effectively. This is where the transformation begins. Dr. Nelson explains that once a trapped emotion is identified, what it is, when it was created, and who it may be connected to, it can be released in just a few seconds. There's no need for long discussions, painful reliving of trauma, or complicated procedures. The body already knows how to heal. We're simply removing what's been blocking that natural process. The method used to release trapped emotions involves a magnet, or your hands, and the governing meridian, which is an energy channel that runs from your upper lip, over the top of your head and down your spine. In Chinese medicine, this meridian is known to influence the rest of the body's energy system. When you swipe a magnet or your hand with focused intention along this path while holding the intention to release the trapped emotion, the emotional energy is dispersed and the body lets it go. This might sound too simple to be real, but time and time again, people report feeling immediate relief after a release. Sometimes it's a shift in mood, a drop in physical pain, or a sudden sense of peace. Other times, the effects unfold over days or weeks, as the body resets and rebalances. Dr. Nelson is very clear that this process does not require reliving or analyzing emotional pain. In fact, it works best when it's calm, clear, and to the point. You simply ask the body what it needs, identify the trapped emotion, and then clear it. The body takes care of the rest. He also reminds us that healing is a process, not an instant fix. Some people release one or two emotions and feel lighter right away. Others may need to go through layers of old emotional energy over time. Both are perfectly normal. Think of it like peeling back layers of an onion. Each release brings you closer to your true self, free from the burdens of the past. In addition to releasing emotions from your own life, this chapter explains how to clear inherited trapped emotions, emotions passed down through generations. These are often invisible but powerful influences on our health and behavior. Fortunately, they can be identified and released in the same way, often with profound emotional relief, not just for you, but for your children and future generations as well. Dr. Nelson also touches on what to expect after a session. Sometimes people feel energized or peaceful. Other times they may feel emotional, tired, or sensitive for a short time as their body adjusts. This is normal. It's just your system integrating the change. Finally, he reassures us that you are in control. You can release one emotion at a time, take breaks as needed, and trust your body to guide the pace. This is not about fixing yourself. It's about allowing yourself to heal. This chapter is a turning point. You've gone from learning about emotional baggage to actually letting it go. And once you experience your first release, you'll see what's possible, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. You're not broken. You've just been carrying more than you needed to. And now you're learning how to finally let it go. Chapter 6: The Heart Wall. This chapter introduces one of the most powerful and life-changing discoveries in the emotion code, the heart wall. If you've ever felt blocked from love, struggled to connect deeply with others, or found it hard to give or receive affection, this concept could explain why. Your heart is more than just a muscle that pumps blood, it's the center of your emotional life. When you feel love, grief, joy, or loss, those feelings often register in your chest. Over time, especially if you experience deep heartache or emotional trauma, your subconscious mind may try to protect you by building an energetic wall around your heart. It uses trapped emotions as building blocks, layer after layer, creating a heart wall. At first, this heart wall may seem helpful. It dulls emotional pain and helps you survive difficult experiences. But the problem is, it doesn't go away when the crisis is over. Instead, it continues to block you from feeling fully alive, emotionally connected, or open to love. It becomes a barrier, not just to heartache, but to happiness. Dr. Nelson shares that many people walk around with a heart wall for years, not even realizing it's there. They may feel numb, anxious in relationships, stuck in their careers, or disconnected from their own purpose. Often, they've done everything right: therapy, self-help, personal growth, but something still feels missing. That missing piece could be the presence of a heart wall. Thankfully, the emotion code gives you a way to identify and remove it. Using muscle testing, you can ask your subconscious, "Do I have a heart wall?" If the answer is yes, you then ask which trapped emotion is contributing to it. One by one, those emotions can be released, just like any other trapped emotion. Over time, the wall comes down. And when it does, the results can be profound. Dr. Nelson shares stories of people who began to feel emotions more deeply for the first time in years. Some noticed a shift in their relationships, creativity, confidence, or even physical health. Others felt a renewed sense of purpose, connection, or inner peace. It's as if their real self had been hidden, and is now finally free. He also emphasizes that this process is gentle. The subconscious mind will only release what you're ready to let go of. You're not tearing the wall down all at once. You're carefully, lovingly removing what no longer serves you. And with each release, you feel more whole. One important reminder: having a heart wall doesn't mean you're broken or damaged. It means your heart tried to protect you in the best way it knew how. That's something to honor. And now you have the tools to say, "Thank you for protecting me." I'm safe now. I'm ready to live with an open heart. The heart wall concept is a beautiful reminder that emotional healing isn't just about feeling less pain, it's about unlocking more love, more connection, more life. Chapter 7: Inherited Trapped Emotions. In this chapter, Dr. Nelson introduces a fascinating and deeply meaningful idea. Some of the emotional energy you carry didn't start with you. It may have been passed down from your parents, grandparents, or even ancestors you've never met. These are called inherited trapped emotions, and they can quietly shape your life in surprising ways. Think of it like emotional DNA. Just as you inherit physical traits, like eye color, hair texture, or a tendency towards certain health conditions, you can also inherit emotional energy. If one of your ancestors experienced intense trauma or emotional pain and didn't fully process it, that emotional energy could have been energetically imprinted into the family line. You, as a descendant, may carry it without ever knowing the original source. Dr. Nelson explains that inherited trapped emotions behave just like personal trapped emotions. They can affect your mood, behavior, relationships, and physical health. But because they didn't come from your own life experiences, they're often harder to understand or even detect without using the emotion code process. Through muscle testing, you can ask questions like, asterisk, is this a trapped emotion? Asterisk, is this emotion inherited? Asterisk, did I receive this from my mother's or father's side? Asterisk, how many generations back does this go? By following the body's cues, you can trace an inherited emotion to its origin, and once you identify it, you can release it just like any other trapped emotion. And here's the most amazing part: when you release an inherited trapped emotion from yourself, you often release it from your children, your siblings, and even future generations. Dr. Nelson has seen powerful outcomes from this process. People who carried unexplained fears, patterns of self-sabotage, or chronic issues for years sometimes discover that the root wasn't in their own life story, it was something passed down. And when it's released, they feel a deep sense of liberation, as though a long-held burden has finally lifted. This chapter is a reminder that you are not just the sum of your experiences. You are part of a larger family story, and that story carries energy, both beautiful and heavy. But you are not stuck with it. You have the power to change the emotional legacy that lives within you. Inherited trapped emotions do not define you. They are just energy that can be honored, understood, and gently released. And in doing so, you don't just heal yourself. You contribute to healing a much wider circle, both backward and forward in time. Chapter 8: The Healing Process. Now that you understand how trapped emotions, including inherited ones, can affect your health, emotions, and relationships, this chapter focuses on what happens after you begin releasing them. Healing isn't just about removal, it's about what your body and spirit do once the blocks are gone. Dr. Nelson explains that healing is a natural, automatic process once the emotional energy that's been disrupting your system is released. The body knows what to do. It's built to recover, to regenerate, and to return to balance. But when trapped emotions are in the way, it's like the body is trying to run with weights strapped to it. Removing those weights allows the real healing to begin. Some people experience immediate shift. They feel lighter, more energized, or less reactive. A chronic ache vanishes. A sense of peace appears seemingly out of nowhere. But for others, the changes are more gradual. That's because each person's healing process is unique. Some emotions have been buried for years. Some were linked to multiple physical or emotional layers. And sometimes the body needs time to recalibrate after years of being held in a protective state. Dr. Nelson emphasizes something important here: trust the process. Don't expect perfection overnight. You might feel tired or emotional after a session. You may even feel a little off before things improve. This is normal. It's your system adjusting, clearing out what no longer serves you and making room for something better. He also stresses the importance of being gentle with yourself during this time. Drink water, get rest, breathe deeply, and allow the shifts to happen without rushing or analyzing everything. You've just let go of something that's been quietly affecting you for a long time. Let your body integrate the freedom. Another key idea in this chapter is that healing is not just physical. When you release trapped emotions, you're often freeing up mental space, emotional energy, and even spiritual clarity. People report feeling more connected to themselves, more inspired, more open to life. It's as if they've come back to who they really are. This chapter also reminds us that healing can happen in layers. Just because you released one trapped emotion doesn't mean that's the end of the journey. Sometimes a symptom or emotional challenge is connected to more than one trapped emotion. That's okay. Each release is progress. Each one takes you closer to lasting change. Finally, Dr. Nelson encourages you to celebrate small victories. Whether it's a slight improvement in your mood, a little less tension in your back, or the ability to speak more freely with someone you love, it all matters. Healing is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet and steady. But every shift creates space for more light, more love, and more health. So, as you continue on this path, remember, your body is wise. Your heart is ready. And with each emotion you release, you are not just healing, you are reclaiming your life. Chapter 9: Using the Emotion Code with Others. Up to this point, you've learned how to identify and release your own trapped emotions. But in this chapter, Dr. Nelson introduces an exciting and empowering idea. You can use the emotion code to help others heal, too, including family, friends, and even clients if you choose to take this work further. The process is the same. You ask the body yes or no questions using muscle testing, identify the trapped emotion, and release it. But when you're working with someone else, there's one important step to add: getting permission. Whether the person is present with you or not, the subconscious mind always respects consent. You must ask, "Can I act as proxy for this person?" And only proceed if the answer is yes. Acting as a proxy means you temporarily stand in for the other person, almost like their energetic representative. You perform the muscle testing on yourself, but it's as if their subconscious is answering through you. This is especially useful when you're working with someone at a distance, or someone who isn't physically able to be muscle tested, like a young child, an elderly person, or someone who's unconscious or nonverbal. Dr. Nelson shares some beautiful examples here. A child who had night terrors experienced peace for the first time in weeks after his mother released a trapped emotion on his behalf. A woman with anxiety began to feel lighter after her friend used the emotion code for her from across the country. It may sound unusual at first, but once you experience how well this works, it starts to feel like second nature. The same method can even be used to help animals. Dogs, cats, horses, and other pets are incredibly sensitive to emotional energy, and just like people, they can carry trapped emotions from past trauma, fear, separation, or stress. Many people have seen pets become calmer, friendlier, or healthier after just a few releases. The key, again, is to always act with respect and intention. Get permission, either directly from the person or through muscle testing their subconscious. And proceed with care, humility, and a heart for service. You're not fixing anyone. You're simply helping their body release something it's been ready to let go of. Dr. Nelson also emphasizes that it's perfectly okay to make this part of your personal or professional life. Many practitioners, coaches, massage therapists, energy healers, or even doctors, have integrated the emotion code into their work. Others use it informally, to support loved ones in moments of stress or difficulty. If you choose to help others with this work, be mindful of your own energy. Stay grounded. Don't take on the other person's emotions. Trust the process and take breaks when needed. As you help others heal, you'll find that your own emotional intuition gets stronger, and your compassion deepens. In the end, this chapter is about expanding the impact of the emotion code. Healing doesn't have to be a solo journey. With these tools, you can become a source of calm, clarity, and release for yourself and those around you. And that's the heart of this work: freedom through connection. When we help each other release what no longer serves us, we make space for more love, more peace, and more life. Chapter 10: The Gift of Emotional Freedom. In this final chapter, Dr. Nelson brings together everything you've learned in the book and highlights the deeper purpose behind the emotion code. This method isn't just about relieving pain or calming anxiety, it's about freedom. True, lasting freedom from emotional baggage that's been weighing you down, often without your even realizing it. Throughout your life, you've probably carried emotions that weren't fully felt, processed, or understood. You may have blamed yourself for being too emotional or wondered why you couldn't move on from something that happened years ago. But now you know, it's not a character flaw. It's energy, and it can be released. Dr. Nelson reminds us that emotional freedom means living without fear of your own feelings. It means knowing that whatever comes up, grief, anger, fear, or sadness, you have the tools to handle it. Instead of pushing emotions down, avoiding them, or pretending they're not there, you can now meet them with curiosity, honesty, and grace. This doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. Life will still bring its ups and downs. But now you're not carrying the old weight into new experiences. You're not repeating cycles that don't serve you. You're no longer held hostage by the energy of past moments. And that's incredibly liberating. One of the most beautiful messages in this chapter is that your heart is meant to be open. It's meant to give and receive love. If you've had a heart wall, if you've held back because of old pain, now is your chance to live differently. To be seen. To trust yourself, to love more fully. Dr. Nelson shares stories of people who, after using the emotion code, discovered they had more energy, more confidence, better health, and stronger relationship. But most importantly, they found a deeper connection with themselves, a sense of peace that came from within. He encourages you to keep practicing. Keep listening to your body. Keep asking questions and trusting the answers. This is not a one-time fix. It's a lifelong tool, a way to support yourself through every stage, every challenge, every moment of growth. And he leaves you with one final truth: you are not broken. You never were. You've simply been carrying emotional energy that wasn't yours to hold forever. Now you have a way to let it go. Emotional freedom is your birthright. You were made to live with clarity, joy, and ease. And with the emotion code, you now have a simple, powerful method to help you return to that natural state again and again. This journey is yours to continue. And the best part? You're already well on your way.